What's up, y'all? Prince Sports here, man. So you see that the NBA has selected its Eastern Conference All Stars and Western Conference All Stars. Now, here's the thing. I'm just gonna get straight to the Western Conference a little bit, all right? But before I even get into that, good just to be on live, man. Been through the rainstorm, been through a lot of stuff, so it's good to be back, having the connection a little bit, going online. But here's what I want to talk about real quick. I'm gonna pull up. Gonna pull up. Let's pull up the Western Conference All Stars. Okay, you got John Morant, who's had a phenomenal year, deserves to be an All Star. He's an All Star starter. Now, the reserves have not been mentioned yet. Okay, I repeat, the reserves have not been mentioned yet. But it's John Morant, Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, the captain again, and the Joker. Now, out of all the names on that list, doesn't one seem a little bit off? And that one that seems off a little bit, I mean, you can make a case for two, John Morant and Andrew Wiggins. But at least John Morant actually earned it. Um, Andrew Wiggins, you want to make him a one time All Star. This is probably his only year he's going to be an All Star. But if you want to make him an All Star this year, he shouldn't be a starter. I mean, I know they play different positions, but the All Star game is positionless. So why not Devin Booker, the Phoenix Suns? Got the best record in the Western Conference, and not a single player from the Phoenix Suns is in the starting lineup for the All Star West players. How is that possible? You don't even get Chris Paul in there, and I know Chris Paul and probably Devin Booker are going to be reserves. There's going to be a lot of reserves. I mean, look, Luka's not even on this. Luka the Don, a guy that gets a lot of praise. He's not even in the starting lineup. Did Andrew Wiggins really deserve to be in the starting lineup? I think he should have been a reserve. I mean, to tell me not a single Phoenix Sun is in the starting lineup? They got the best record in the Western Conference. How is that even possible, man? Then you move on. You know, Andrew Wiggins and his ran an All Star week. He's the All Star for a week. The off and on All Star. Not a true All Star anyway. You know, and he's so inconsistent. You know, I'm sorry, man. I wouldn't make him a starter in an All Star game. Why is he even in the starting lineup? He's averaging what 18 a game. There's a lot of guys in the league that could do that. That doesn't mean they're All Star starters. Andrew Wiggins got a stimulus package when it was free by the NBA. You know, but then you move on to the Eastern Conference, right? The Eastern Conference got Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, DeMar DeRozan, and Trey Young. That's a little more on point. Okay, I got no problem with this list. No problem with this list really at all. Now the reserves is going to be probably James Harden, Jimmy Butler, and it's kind of funny that a lot of the reserves are guys that normally would have been in the starting lineup. Because if Kyrie Irving was playing all year round, Kyrie Irving would have been the starting point guard. So technically, Trey Young should be behind Kyrie Irving. But being the fact that he played, he earned the right to be called an All Star in the starting lineup. All right, DeMar DeRozan is having a phenomenal year with the Chicago Bulls. Um, Giannis Antetokounmpo, arguably the best player in the game, he deserves to be in the starting lineup. Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate every single year. He deserves to be in it, you know. But this year is going to have a lot of guys that normally be starters be reserves. And that's due to a lot of injuries that's taking place. Now look at the Western Conference, no AD, because he spent a lot of time being hurt. Now the Joker wouldn't even be on this list if it was for AD, if AD was playing, you know. technically, this list should be like Steph Curry, Devin Booker, um, Anthony Davis. I mean, I guess if you want to pit LeBron James, but if you're going to be a starter in a All Star game, your team should at least be good. You got to reward the winning too. LeBron James has been putting up stats, but stats alone shouldn't be reason why you are in a starting five. You know, LeBron could take a back seat and be a reserve and let a young buck come in. You know, but this Western Conference list, I got the problems with. LeBron is debatable because he's old, but I mean the fact that he's named the captain of the team and it's LeBron James commercialized, he's just too known, I guess, to come off the bench. But I thought winning plays a role into being an All Star as well. This is the problem with the All Star game. The value of the All Stars has been debunked. It's really been shot down really low, and that's the sucky part about it. Now we're devaluing All Star games. What's an All Star now? What seriously? What's an All Star now? Because you got a guy that has averaged 18 points a game. He's in the starting lineup for the All Star game. There's plenty of guys. There's role players that average 18 a game. There's some guys that come off the bench that average 18 a game. But you got Andrew Wiggins in here? Really? I mean, Klay Thompson, since he's been back, was averaging like 16. He's only 2 points away from Andrew Wiggins. I really don't like this Western Conference All Star list. I don't. The Joker's in there by default. LeBron James is in there by default. He got the stats, but he don't get the win. John Moran is in there because he earned it. Steph Curry earned it. Andrew Wiggins didn't earn a starting lineup. Yeah, you're on a winning team, but you shouldn't be on this. There should be at least one Phoenix Suns in this starting lineup. You mean to tell me the team with arguably one of the best records in the Western Conference can't have one player that's in the starting lineup for All Star? You can't reward that guy? You don't see something wrong with that? I do. Since I'm here, salute to Tom Brady. He's retired. Went to the NFL a little bit. Tom Brady's retired, so you won't see no more Super Bowls, no more championships for Tom Brady. But guys like Pat Mahomes have chances of winning a little more. But LA has a chance to bring home a championship. They bought one in 2020. Now they have a chance to bring one in 2022 in a different sport. But nevertheless, they still have a chance to bring one. You know, so that's my problem with this All Star selection. Okay, I like Andrew Wiggins a little bit, but I think Andrew Wiggins is a little bit overrated at this point. That you're going to pit him a All Star starter. If LeBron James is in the starting lineup and the Lakers are barely above 500, why can't Luka be in there? Luka's a better player than Andrew Wiggins. So we're gonna throw that logic out the window. Let's throw that team logic out the window because the Lakers barely above 500, but you got LeBron James in the starting lineup. What's the value of being an All Star now? Now you might as well just make AD an All Star since he just came back. Because we all know AD's an All Star, and why she probably get picked for a reserve. He barely even played this season. I think this is a joke. This really is a joke. You know. But if the Lakers lose, LeBron will have an excuse. AD wasn't an All Star this year. Russell Westbrook wasn't an All Star this year. But I think one of them will be probably a reserve All Star. Andrew Wiggins and Russell Westbrook ain't too far apart with their stats. They both averaging the same amount point game. So the only difference is one is on a winning team, the other isn't. So what's the criteria for this stupid All Star game? Because a lot of it don't make any sense. Most of it is not making any sense. Watch Kyrie Irving probably be a reserve, but barely play a game. You're gonna honor him, let him be a reserve, but the guy missed games out on purpose, basically. You did all that riffing and raffing about getting quarantined. Getting the gap, getting the shot. Still didn't get it, but you still end up coming back playing basketball anyway. This is my problem with Kyrie Irving. You do all this talking. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. And ultimately, you just cave in or do absolutely nothing. So what was all this ranting about if you didn't lead to nothing? You know, you still came back just to play away games. I mean, come on, dog. Make up what you want to do with your NBA career, man. Just leave the Nets already, because the Nets is gonna implode anyway. And I'm glad that they're imploding. Because look, you got Kyrie in a vaccination situation. He may be gone. There's no way the Nets going to keep him full time because he's just a headache. James Harden is a product of all of this craziness in Brooklyn that he don't want to be a part of. And I know he probably missed his stat. And he's not too happy with the fact that he may be an all-star reserve. James Harden actually played more games this season than Kevin Durant. But yet Kevin Durant is an all-star starter. You see how weird this is? This criteria for this all-star game is just out of whack. It just makes no sense. I think being an all-star now is just based off who's famous, not actually earning it. For some of these guys, you can't tell me that they're in the starting lineup for all-star games because they did a lot this year. You're only in here because you're famous. Kevin Durant is only on this list because he's famous. LeBron James is only on this list because he's famous. So the All-Star game is really a bunch of baloney. It lost a lot of its clout. You can't really tell who's a superstar or all-star that much no more. You have to almost go by your own criteria because everything is whacked and thrown out the window. Nothing makes sense anymore. You feel me? Nothing absolutely makes sense anymore. And that's the problem with the NBA. Too many politics, too many bias. Now, when the Lakers don't make the playoffs, if they don't, everybody's gonna get thrown under the bus except for LeBron. LeBron gonna get treated like a king just because he's LeBron James and he's famous. But what has LeBron did really this season other than just collect stats? You can't tell me you're seriously impressed with what he's been doing this year. What has he done? Kevin Durant has some high scoring games, but the Nets are what? They're still 9 games over 500, which is good. They started out pretty good, but he's injury prone, and the Brooklyn Nets may be on the verge of disappearing. You know, and before I get back to the NBA, yes, I'm rooting for the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Actually, none of my Super Bowl predictions came true. I thought Buffalo Bills was going to go to the Super Bowl, didn't happen. Cincinnati was the last team that I thought would go to the Super Bowl. But see, that's the irony of football compared with basketball. Football, there's still that element of surprise. You just never know who's going to win, and I like it like that. There's more parity in football because, for the most part, you know who's going to lose. You don't know who's going to win or lose. But in basketball, if you've been watching it for such a long time, you could get a glimpse and a hint of who's going to win, and who's going to lose most of the time. Now, y'all slept on the Phoenix Suns, and y'all continue to disrespect the Phoenix Suns. Not a single player is in the starting lineup. Not a single one. Absolutely, utterly disgust with these all-star picks. Joe Embiid deserves it because he's put the team on his back, won some couple games. Definitely deserves it. Giannis deserves it. Kevin Durant was in and out the lineup. I don't know. I don't know if he deserved to be a starter. Trey Young is a fake starter because Kyrie Irving is out or was out and missed half the whole season. DeMar DeRozan is a legit starter. He actually earned the spot. So only three guys: DeMar DeRozan, Joe Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the East actually earned a spot on an All-Star game to be called a real All-Star. In the West, LeBron James is only there because he's famous, but your team is losing. So I guess winning don't count when it comes to LeBron James. All rules are broken. It's just who's famous. Steph Curry's actually winning, so you deserve to be on there. But your running mate, Andrew Wiggins, don't deserve to be in no damn starting lineup. That's just a feel good award. Ja Morant, he earned his spot to be an all star. Yapping it on people, showing good promise for that team in Memphis. Memphis needs something like that. The Joker, the Joker's only there for by default. Because if AD was here, AD would have been in that spot. But you got your excuses ready now. You can say LeBron was the only All Star for the Lakers if nobody else makes it to the All Star game. Because I could see Russell Westbrook not being in the All Star game. I could definitely see it because you could pick two Phoenix Suns over him. You could really do it. You could pick Chris Paul and you could pick Devin Booker. Now I know they're gonna announce the reserves pretty soon. That'll be interesting to see who's the reserves. You got Luca. Luca's definitely going to be one, but Luca probably should be a starter. Technically, Luca should be a starter. Paul George got hurt. Kawhi Leonard got hurt. Those two guys would have been all-star starters, either one or both of them. You know, and imagine if everybody was fully healthy and playing. There's probably a good chance that Kawhi Leonard should have been a starter and not LeBron James. So the real all stars for the Western Conference, if they wasn't going to do this BS, would have been AD, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, um, Kawhi. You could make a case for Paul George. That's four. And if they were winning games, the Lakers, LeBron James, you know. But LeBron is still always going to be debatable because you're always going to have another young guy that you may say is playing at a higher level than LeBron. LeBron's playing at a statful level, but those stats don't do nothing. Half of them are stat padded, and they're not doing no impact. They're just there for show. Just oohs and ahs. They're not leading to no wins. I got a problem with guys being in the All Star game, but their team not winning too much. I think you should reward guys that win. Because to me, sports is all about winning. But the All Star game got too much politics. Now you can't even describe who's an All Star or a superstar anymore. Everybody's an All Star. Like this case, Andrew Wiggins, 18 points a game, and he a starter? How is Andrew Wiggins a starter? Not one Phoenix Sun is on the starting lineup. Phoenix Suns got All Star players. They got the best record in the West, right? Last time I checked. You mean to tell me you can't pick not one Phoenix Sun in the starting lineup? Not one. Even over John Morant. John Morant's having a fantastic year. But Chris Paul and them boys, they winning. So that's my little squabble with the NBA. I don't like these All Star picks. You know, I don't know how this. A lot of this is just fan control. You know, and it's just getting lower and lower. The NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, regular season, everything, everything about basketball is getting downgraded. Everything, nothing has that much value no more. Now it's all about just your team winning one championship. If that's the case, then don't play the regular season. Hell, don't even play the playoffs. Well, if you just want to do it, do a 10-game regular season, start the playoffs. Oh, 15 games. Do what the NFL do. Do 15 regular season games because nobody here is taking NBA basketball serious no more. The players don't take it serious. So why should the fans take it serious? They make a mockery out of all these awards. Guys could just leave games. They don't want to have no discipline. They don't want to do anything. They want to play when they want to play, take breaks when they want to take breaks, be GMs now. What happened to basketball? It really lost a lot of its clout. It really lost a lot of its respect. I think when you're running a business, everything has to be in order, right? Everybody has to respect everybody's order. If you're a GM, let that guy be a GM. But if you're a basketball player, you should have no right trying to be a GM. I believe in order and balance, not chaos, especially in business. Business should have order and balance. That's how you become a successful business. You don't become successful when everything's out of whack. This guy trying to be this guy trying to be that. You know, regular associates trying to be managers. Managers trying to be supervisors. Supervisors trying to be owners. I mean, there's levels to all of this. And that's the problem with the NBA. Everything's out of whack. The players don't want to be players no more. They got to be more than players. They got to be GM. They got to be guys that, oh, we pick whoever we want on our team. We all come together and play with each other. The hell with the hell with competition. That's the problem with basketball. And the problem is you guys co-sign it. A lot of people co-sign this stupid. You want to see guys not compete against each other, which is absolutely, I don't know, man. It just like, my first question is like, why? Why do you want to see that? Why do you want to see players not compete against each other? That should be your main objective, is to see players compete against each other. Because if you don't want to see players compete against each other, you got to answer yourself, why are you even playing sports? Sports is about having fun, being competitive, and winning. Three of the main aspects to it. Okay, 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, those are the main three reasons why you love sports and why you play it. You play it for competition. Okay, so the competition boosts up your self-esteem, it boosts up your morale, it boosts up everything. It gives you confidence. It makes you feel proud about yourself. Hey man, I took on this guy. He's 10 times bigger than me. I was able to win. You know, it hits the soul. And of course, fun. It has to be fun. The fun aspect is still part of the competition. You know, you like the challenge. You know, because sometimes if something's challenging, it could still be boring at the same time. You want to have your fun while you're playing sports. That's why hey, you can have friendly competition. You could crack jokes. You know, you could talk a little smack, talk a little trash. It gets a lot of out. It gets a lot out the system. You know, you probably had a bad day at work, and you want to let some of that steam off. What better place to do it than sports? You've seen the movie Fight Club, right? Average 9 to 5 guys disgusted with life, bosses yelling down their throat, giving them hell, making their life shitty water. But guess what? They go to that Fight Club, they let all their problems out. you know? But that's some of the essence of what sports is. It is a machismo sport. It is a bragging sport. It is an egotistic sport. you know. But that's the part. That's the fun part about it. It's the fun and the competition of it. And last but not least, you play to win because you don't want to keep doing something and losing. You know. It reminds me sometimes when you go, you ever went to the basketball court, you dominated somebody so good, and they don't want to even play basketball no more. You know why? Because you took away their confidence, you took away their existence to want to pick up a basketball. You know, that's the thing about sports. It could either make or break you. Sports could crush your soul. If you're not strong enough, sports could crush your soul. Period. It could completely destroy your confidence. And without your confidence, because it's all up here. Sports is mental just as much as it is physical. So once that goes away, you are F. You are up because you ain't gonna want to compete. You know, and I feel that's the problem with a lot of superstars today. They don't want to compete. You know, it's funny because a lot of them strike me as guys that have huge egos but very low self-esteem at the same time. So to me, it's probably a huge ego masked by low self-esteem. Now, I actually think LeBron James suffers from low self-esteem, image problems, or how he's perceived. He always wants the attention. He always wants the spotlight, but he's afraid to take risks. He's afraid of the fact that somebody may beat or embarrass him. I think the same goes for like a Kevin Durant to a lesser degree. You know, his problem's completely different, but similar in some ways. You know, somebody said, "Hey, man, you used to like LeBron James." I didn't say I didn't like LeBron James. I just call stuff out when I see it. This version of LeBron James is not the version that a lot of you guys fell in love with. That from Cleveland the first 7 years. You know, even a super team LeBron James, I didn't like it too much, but it's better than this version of LeBron James that's just looking for records. I think LeBron obviously don't care about winning. You know, I think it's second for him. Some things change. Just like you seen the shorty, 18, 19, 20 years old. You both around the same age. You know, the words of my man Capone from Capone and Noriega, Fatty Bangers. But what happens when those come flat? You know, bags start to form on the face. You know, you start looking at that person different. A couple years go by. You know, I said that shit back then. I didn't mean that shit now. It's different, man. Things change. People change. Nobody's gonna stay the same. You gotta keep that same energy and just keep treating everybody fair. Somebody fell off, like 50 Cent said. In high school, you was the man, homie. What happened to you? I mean, that's how I feel about LeBron James. You know, I think his obsession of trying to catch Mike kind of hurt his basketball career. He should have just been playing just for the sake of playing and letting everything else do the talking. Let your game do the talking, and then your legacy will fall right in place. You know, anybody who gets drafted into the NBA has a chance of being called the greatest basketball player of all time. But I do think there's a time where that boat sailed away. I think that boat sailed away for LeBron James, but at least he's going to be considered a top five player amongst a lot of people, or a top 10. He's always going to be considered one of those, and that's a highlight within itself. You know what I'm saying? I know it's late. A lot of people are probably asleep, especially on the East Coast. Some people probably on the West Coast is like, they relaxing. Man. It's probably about like 12 or 11 o'clock at night on the West Coast. I mean, on the East Coast, and the West Coast is about 9. So This is like a surprise live stream, but I'm gonna be on tomorrow again. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I will rehash some of these topics again tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about it again. You know. So if you catch this live stream, get it on replay, check it out, then come back at me for the live stream tomorrow, and we could talk about it. You know, Friends Sports out.